Here with me today, I've got Kade Vilio, former teammate, ex-professional hockey player, current professional bodybuilder, and owner of the Hockey Outlet and V Athletic Development here in Langley, BC. Welcome, Kade.
Thanks for having me, Kenny.
Yeah, so shaking things off, it's the only other example that I can think of, multi-sport professional athletes, is Michael Jordan. So.
I would definitely not compare myself with him. Yeah. Absolutely not. It's fun. Trying to do different sports and trying to push yourself athletically in different aspects, especially with like hockey and bodybuilding.
How would you say they're the same? How would you say they differ?
Oh boy. Mentally, I feel like they're extremely similar because you have the discipline from the bodybuilding when it comes into like doing a contest prep, figuring out your diet, figuring out your workout routine and sticking to it, right? No off days. And that's very similar with hockey, right? You run a whole season, you go through this gauntlet, you're exhausted by the end of it, and then you get maybe like 1 week off and it's right back to training again in the off season. You have to make sure your diet's on point too for hockey. So you got to keep your nutrition in check. So if any of those slip, your performance slips. It goes same hand in hand with bodybuilding. As for athletic standpoint, both different styles of training. You're still getting results either way. So whether that be I'm trying to build the muscle in my legs to grow, I feel if you have bigger leg muscles, you're still going to be faster, stronger, probably be able to jump higher if you didn't train. So those two kind of go hand in hand. But the aspects of it, when you get to the higher levels, I definitely think there's a big difference. When I'm doing a bodybuilding prep, right, I'm trying to bring up every aspect of my body. I'm trying to bring up my biceps. I'm trying to bring up my legs, my back, my lats. Whereas if I'm doing hockey, biceps don't really matter that much. You don't really want the big biceps. It messes with the stick handling. I notice whenever I'm full bodybuilding prep, if I'm ever practicing or playing hockey, my performance suffers that way. So I feel like, yeah, there's some similarities, but there's also some pretty big differences as well.
Did you ever feel like you had to make a trade-off? Like, were you ever doing both at the same time?
Yeah, I did actually. The year I got my pro card was the first off season I had after playing my first year of university hockey. So I went into that off season going, okay, well, I have bodybuilding that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pursue this pro card. But I also have my second year of university hockey and an okay first year. I worked my way up, but I really wanted to try and perform that second year and make that jump. So it was tough trying to juggle both of those things. I feel like I had to do a bit of a trade-off and limit the amount of hockey style workouts and focus more on the bodybuilding. But then once I finished my last show in the summertime, I got my pro card. I was like, okay, I got a month and a half till training camp. I got to dial it in. I got to ramp it up. Then I switched full blown right into the hockey training. And then that obviously translated really well. But yeah, it's definitely tough. You have to make some sacrifices for sure.
I mean, sweet to have both though. Like you just learn the work ethic.
Yes. You definitely like mentally, like it's a grind, but it's enjoyable too. Like they both have their pros and cons for like with hockey, for example, it's a little bit different with it being a team sport, right? You can be hard on yourself, but at the end of the day, right? Like you could play the best game of your entire life, but if your team doesn't play good, you might not win that game. Whereas bodybuilding, very subjective, very personalized, individual, right? You can train with buddies. I have tons of buddies that train and compete with me, but at the end of the day, it's you versus you, right? You're trying to better yourself. You don't really care about anybody else so that when you step on stage, hopefully you'll look the best, you'll be the best. And if you are the best, you're going to win.
So do you see like having your pro card now, having done your first pro show was this year?
Yes, it was.
So tell me about that, the transition of professional hockey back to bodybuilding now.
So that was funny because I got 3 games professional hockey. So, it was a short-lived career, but it was enjoyable. I learned a lot. But after, for hockey, you hit a peak pretty quick.
What do you mean by that?
I mean like an age peak. If you're not playing pro at like early 20s, the chances of you playing pro or even going further up the pro ranks in hockey is extremely difficult. Like, look at guys in the NHL, right? You see the once in a blue moon, the Sidney Crosbys and the Alex Ovechkins. Those guys are unicorns, right?
30s is old, like.
Exactly. Yeah, you're getting old. Whereas I feel like with bodybuilding, especially natural bodybuilding, the guy who just won the Ben Wider Natural Olympia, he was, I believe, in his mid or late 40s, and he was a vegan. So it goes to show that with bodybuilding, the age cap is so much higher. You can do it well into your 40s and still compete at a high level. Whereas hockey, once you get past that like 35, is beer league and that's it, you know? Like you don't got much else.
Yager's the outlier.
Exactly. So once I finished my pro hockey short-lived career of 3 games, started focusing a little bit more on my career, this facility, my hockey shop, and then just started focusing a little bit more on the bodybuilding. I still played hockey, men's league, and then like high-level roller hockey, inline hockey.
Still doing that? Nice.
Yeah, still doing that. Playing for Team Canada. I did the World Skate Games in Argentina, World Skate Games in Italy. So that also has kind of given me a little bit of a drive to continue playing hockey. I decided in the summertime, I probably was about 8 weeks out, that I decided I was going to do the pro show. I saw that they announced that they were going to do a brand new natural pro show out in New Westminster, the Extreme Promotions Natural Classic. So I was like, you know what? I might as well. I hadn't stepped on stage in 8 years. I was really focusing on hockey. So I was like, let's ramp it up. And I did an 8-week prep. I believe I started my prep at about 205 pounds and I got all the way down to 185 pounds. So I was skinny, I was small, but it was a lot of fun and I was really happy with the outcome. I came in very conditioned, probably too conditioned. Realistically, from looking at pictures and stuff, I probably could have kept on a little bit of mass. But doing that transition and going through that whole prep again, it was really surreal. Like it was fun to do, but man, it's a grind. It is a grind. So I was happy with how it went. I was happy with the outcome and I'll definitely continue to compete further on for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seeded the motivation.
Yeah.
Because like, I didn't know you only did an 8-week prep.
Yeah.
So tell me about your pro career. 3 games. Like, what got you into it? What got you out of it? What was the experience like for you while you were there?
That was fun. I finished my university career and then I believe that summer I started really focusing on what I wanted to do in life and wanted to get this training facility running. So we started working on the renovations for this training facility, started putting a lot more effort in the shop, like our hockey pro shop. I was also focusing on roller hockey and the World Skate Games was in Argentina that year in October. So I went to Argentina and I played with one of my buddies. His name's James Isaacs. He had a career in the East Coast, and then at the time, he was actually playing in the SPHL for the Evansville Thunderbolts. After the tournament, he asked me, are you still playing ice hockey? And I said, no, my career's done, I'm too old. He goes, no, you're not too old. He's like, let me make a couple calls, I'll talk to my coach. So he talked to his coach, and he was like, yeah, my coach will bring you out for a PTO. So at that time, all I had been doing was playing roller hockey, and really focusing honestly more on bodybuilding than hockey specific training and maybe playing beer league like once or twice a week. So I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't good. I gotta go fly out to Evansville to try out for a hockey team. So I ramped up my training. I started trying to skate every day, ramped up the off-ice training as well, flew out there, got sick the second I got there. I don't know if it was the water. Actually, I know it was the water because I was drinking from the water bottles and then somebody came up to me and asked me and he's like, are you accustomed to the water yet? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, this is all tap water that you're drinking. Like, your stomach might not take it very well. And oh my gosh, I was dying. And I had like a road trip. Yeah, I had a road trip that weekend too. So we went on the road trip. I played 2 games on the road trip, came back, played a home game. And then after my 3rd game, got the call. They decided to waive me. So they put me on waivers. It was a tough time because I came in halfway through the season. So a lot of the team was already kind of solidified. And then when you're playing pro hockey, if you're a bubble guy like I was, you got to be wary of that February, March time when all the NCAA guys start finishing up their seasons. Right. And then they start calling around because they want to get picked up by teams. And, you know, if you're a high-end NCAA Div 1 player and you're calling these teams are going to take chances on you, right? So that a lot of those guys came down, and then that was probably one of the main reasons why I ended up getting waived. Right. So I had an opportunity to go play in the FHL, but I decided, you know what, money's not great, and I got family at home and stuff, so decided to head back, and that was it for the ice hockey career.
Fair enough, but like ended healthy, which is like,
yes,
yeah, and still enjoying the game. So 2 wins there for sure. But that's so funny that your pro career started like that, because I'm pretty sure that was kind of how you got into Trinity as well. Like, it was a lot of roller hockey and
yeah, that is very similar about how Trinity went. It's funny how they had differences, except, you know, I was playing pro hockey for 3 games, but I went to Trinity. I lasted a good 7 years or 6 years at Trinity. Dude, so right. There's a better trade-off on the Trinity aspect of it. Yeah, that was fun. Because yeah, I didn't start ice hockey till I was 15 years old. Yeah, that was my first year ice hockey. Played roller hockey my whole life. Probably started when I was like 6 or 7. Played ice 15. I played house my first year. Second year, made rep, barely. only because my brother was on the team. We were a package deal, so that kind of helped me out a little bit.
Fair.
Played out rep in my midget, which is like AA out in Alder Grove. After midget, I played juvie till I was 20. And then after juvie, I decided I was going to try out for junior B as a 20-year-old rookie. So that didn't last very long.
Right.
I got cut. So I ended up getting cut from junior. Then I think I took 2 years off just playing roller hockey, working, bodybuilding. That's when I was really into the bodybuilding. Me and my brother, we were doing 8 to 10 shows a year.
Wow.
Yeah, we were just grinding. It was like every local show that we could go that we could afford, we were doing it.
Did you just stay cut between shows?
Yeah, we would just
do like a bit of a refeed and then, wow.
And like, not that good because we were learning about nutrition at that time, right? We got base knowledge. We're just watching guys like Steve Cook on YouTube and just trying to figure out, what to do and how to do things. And our mental aspect wasn't the strongest. So after a show, it would turn into, a refeed, which would turn into a binge, which would turn into a 2 or 3 day binge. And then, you're 10 pounds, 15 pounds heavier than when you stepped on stage. And then you got to start cutting again. So it wasn't a good yo-yo for us, for sure. Looking back at it, I'm like, man, we could have done that so much better. But it definitely was a lot of fun. But yeah, the 2 years I took off playing ice. I was doing the bodybuilding. And then it's actually really funny because I was working out in the gym in this facility. They have a gym, Total Fitness, upstairs. And I was working out there and they have these big glass mirrors. So I was looking through them while I was doing squats one day. And I see a team skating and I look at it, it's Trinity Western. And I'm like, these guys don't look that good. You know what? There might be an actual shot. I might actually be able to make this team. I wonder when they have tryouts and stuff. Took a look around and I Googled, found a counselor's email. So I emailed the counselor. I said, hey, are they still having tryouts? He goes, I don't know. Email the coach. So, okay, I probably should have done that. And I'm like, hey, you guys still having tryouts? He goes, are you going to the school? Well, I was not going to the school, but he didn't need to know that. So I told him, yes, I just enrolled. So he goes, perfect. We'll have you out tomorrow. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have barely skated. I've done roller hockey and bodybuilding the last 2 years. So I went out the next day.
Still not enrolled in classes, though.
Still not enrolled in classes. Probably should not have been out there for insurance purposes. But you know what? I signed a couple forms. I'm sure it was fine. I hit anything that moved. My skill set was, there was no skills. I had no skill. It was dump and chase and hit. So all I did was hit. Coach brings me in afterwards, sits me down. He says, love your work ethic. Love how hard you go and the effort you put into practice today. We like your size. We like your speed. Didn't bring up anything about my skills, so that was a little bit of a dagger. But, I was looking at the positives at that point. And he said, you're in luck. We actually had 2 guys quit a day ago. So we actually have 2 open spots. So we'd like to offer you one of those spots. So I'm like, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yep, we'll see you at practice tomorrow. I'm like, absolutely. I walk out those doors. I'm like, oh shit, I have to enroll in classes. I have to go to university. I was like, okay. So I go home, I tell my parents, they're like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I made this team. Luckily, my dad loves hockey, so he's all in on it. He's like, absolutely, let's get you in some classes. So email that counselor back. I'm like, let's go, put me in. I did part-time studies so that I would actually qualify to play on the hockey team. And I literally the next day I was in business 111.
Dude, that's wild. I didn't know that's how you made it in.
That's literally how I made it in.
I remember you only took 3 classes the first year and everybody was like, man, you're going to take forever to graduate. And then you did.
and honestly, I think I told you guys, I was like, I don't need to graduate. I'll be fine.
Right?
And then 6 years later, I actually ended up graduating.
You graduated with a kin degree, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. After hockey, after pro, bodybuilding, all that aside, I mean, this facility has been part of your life as long as I've known you.
Oh yeah. We've been in the Sportsplex.
Yeah. Paint the vision for me. What does this mean to you? Why did you build it? And where is it going?
Well, I graduated high school and my dad asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, oh boy, I have no idea. He said, well, what do you enjoy? What are your interests? And I said, hockey. I love hockey. He goes, okay. He's like, would you guys be interested? It's me and my older brother. He goes, would you be interested in opening up a small hockey shop? He goes, you guys could do new and used. So you'd get inventory for cheap. You can go to garage sales. You can go to thrift stores. You can buy off people. A lot of people sell their used gear cheap and then you can resell it and make a profit. So I was like, okay. I'm like, well, we don't really have a location or a lot of money. So my dad was like, okay, I'll help you out. I'll front you the money. We'll get you a small, tiny corner location out in Abbotsford. So we were in downtown Abbotsford. We opened it up. It was new and used. So it was a lot of fun dealing with people bringing in their stinky hockey gear in garbage bags and then trying to haggle with me, trying to tell me that their $20 skates are worth $500. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was a grind dealing with those people. But you'd get good deals sometimes, and you'd make a good profit. So we were in Abbotsford for about a year and a half, possibly, I think maybe even 2 years. And then we noticed that the Sportsplex Pro Shop location went out of business, and it was up for lease. So we were like, let's do it. It's got great foot traffic. Then we opened up here, and we've been here for probably 10 years since then. Yeah.
Crazy. And then the athletic side of it, the actual private gym you have here, how long has that been?
The vision for it started about halfway through my career at Trinity, about 3 years in. I was like, you know what? I actually do really enjoy, I took a couple coaching classes, and I was like, I do really enjoy training people. I like seeing their progress. I like seeing people put in the effort and watching them progress, like athletically and even in their sports. So I thought, you know what? Our shop here is way too big. We don't need this amount of size for a small, tiny pro shop. We stopped doing the new and used, or the used gear, because it was a hassle. So I always thought, I'm like, yeah, you know what? We could do some renovations here and maybe try and put in a small little gym and then do the training. So that vision kind of grew and expanded. And then towards my last year at Trinity, we really started buying stuff and started figuring out what we were going to do for a layout, how we were going to program, what we were going to do for websites and stuff. And then after I graduated Trinity, we started the renovations, and yeah, we just opened this year. So it's been pretty good so far.
So what's the roadmap look like for you in the next couple of years now? So it's gone like vision to reality this year. Now what's the next vision?
Yeah, so basically with this facility, we just opened it. So now it's basically building clientele, getting that reputation, and working from there. So I'm hoping to really pursue and push this spring and summer, get some camps going, start working with a lot of kids. We do classes, we do one-on-ones, we do group training, and we do team training. So I think for this summer, when everybody's in their off season, we're really gonna start hammering down on those classes, really try to bring in a lot more new clients. And then leading into the summer, towards the winter, start working with some teams, start contacting teams and getting some teams in here. If those go well, we're busy enough, we make enough money. We want to do even more renovations. This wall right here is actually drywall, and it wraps around, and there's a yoga studio right across. I talked to the owners, and they own the kinesiology clinic upstairs, that's rehab, and they basically don't really use it that much. So they told us if we ever wanted it, we could take over the lease. So hopefully, fingers crossed, if we do well enough, we expand, then we can fit even more people in here and then just grow from there.
So in terms of your training, like who do you train the most, and why do you have them, say, as your favorite?
Interesting. For training right now, we actually have a bit of a mixture of clients. I've had some prep kids, I've had some house players, I've even had people that have been looking to lose weight. So I do have a variety of people. People are even looking into bodybuilding. Probably hockey is definitely the main source of the athletes we have in our facility right now. Obviously, we're in a hockey rink. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But we do all aspects of training. I've had people come in for basketball training as well. I've had people inquiring about soccer training. I definitely would say I'm more specialized into the hockey. I can do all sorts of training, all sorts of athletic training, but my specialties would definitely be the hockey and the bodybuilding. And they both have their pros and cons. The hockey training is a little different. You know, you really got to be engaged with it. And the bodybuilding training, it really, creating programs, everybody's different, right? Everybody grows differently. Everybody's going to react differently to different programs. Same thing with diet, right? Somebody might do better on a high-fat diet. Somebody might do better on a low-carb diet, right? You don't know. So they definitely have their pros and cons, but it's enjoyable and I like the challenge.
So if you could pick your perfect client to walk through the door.
That's a tough one. Perfect client, because it's like I enjoy training for bodybuilding because I love seeing people's transformations. I like it. I love seeing how people can, you know, start at a certain weight and then start to lose weight, and then you start seeing those muscle bellies pop. You start seeing more definition, more lines. Like that's really, really enjoyable. But then when it comes to the hockey training, I also love hearing people like, hey, like scored a hat trick last week, feeling so much faster. Coach is telling me I'm way more conditioned. Oh man. I don't know if I can pick a favorite. I love all aspects of training. I just like seeing progression, you know? I like to see people work hard, and I like to see people get rewarded for that hard work.
Yeah, I feel like that generalizes too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like it's like anything, like the level of effort that you put in, if you have a proper structure and plan, which in my opinion is like, it's part of the effort, you can predict the outputs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Genetics is going to play a little bit of a role in that, but like have yet to see it where, you know, the farther in life people go, especially in athletics, like that they're like, oh yeah, he's skilled, but he didn't have to work for it.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen it. So then when I think of like these pros that are like generational phenoms, the Celebrinis and the Bedards and the McDavids and the Crosbys, it's like, I actually like can't comprehend how much work they've put in.
Oh yeah. What's that one saying? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah. But then what happens when everybody works hard?
And then that's the thing. Once the talented work hard, then it's, I'm sorry, you're just not gifted enough.
Right? But then, like, I mean, my opinion is then you can work hard in other areas.
Yep.
It's like you have kids that they work really hard in practice, but that's, 2 hours a week.
Yeah. Well, you also got to think about it too. It's like, if somebody's going to be more skilled than you, well, then you try and become faster than them. You try to work harder than them. You try to be more aggressive than them. It's look at the Olympic hockey team, right? They're not taking all skill guys, and there's a reason for it, right? You can't just have a team that's full of skill, right? You need to have all these other different aspects, right? They're different tools. And I feel like as a hockey player, you can kind of grow and realize, okay, I'm really good at this at a certain aspect. I might be really good at penalty killing, right? And I might not be good at scoring. I might be really good at scoring. I might not be that good at penalty killing. Well, figure out what you're really good at, find that, hone that, and then kill yourself. Work as hard as you can to get as good as that one thing, and then that will bring you further.
Right, like the Dennis Rodmans of the world.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
For sure. So, because that can go both ways. And I see it both ways in players that I work with. It's like, if you're good at something, like own that, like make sure you're the best. But at the same time, it's like, if you're not good at something, it's like, where do you spend your resources? Do you spend your resources becoming more balanced and lifting that lower bar?
Yeah.
Or do you go deep and just make sure that you are like the absolute best at your craft in that one specific area?
Yeah, it's a tough balance that you got to try and find, right? You got to make those decisions.
What would your decision be if you were to go back and do it again?
I feel like I try to bring up the weak points, because those weak points, they really can bite you. Try and balance myself out. And then once I feel like those are at a good level, then try to hone in on my strengths even more and try to push that. Because I feel like if you have a low floor but a high ceiling, say you're really good at penalty killing, but your hockey IQ is at the bottom, you're not going to go that far.
The Doug Platts of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
But if you can bring it up and you can level out and you can balance out and become a better player that way, then you'll start going further, and then you can start to hone in on your strengths. And then that can maybe even push you a little over the top, right?
I agree with what you're getting at. I think an important thing in that is it can be periodized.
Yes.
You can maintain your strengths while you bring up your weaknesses.
Definitely.
And then you can hone in on your strengths. I also think that your coach matters.
Oh, for sure. Coaches make or break a player.
Knowing what your coach prioritizes and what they value for opportunity is important.
Oh, for sure. 100%. You even see it in the NHL. There's some good examples. Kuzmenko, great example. Came to the Canucks, sought after star playing in the KHL, and they give him an opportunity. They give him that confidence. He starts playing with high-end guys, Hughes, Pettersson. He's putting up points. He has a career year. I can't remember how many goals he got, but it was a career year. It was unbelievable. Everybody's like, this guy's a real deal. Well, then, next year rolls around, and, maybe he has a couple bad off games. Coach is like, yeah, now sending this guy down to third line. Suddenly he's off first line power play. The points aren't coming. The confidence starts getting killed. Well, now he's in a slump. Everyone's talking about his slump, and then boom, you're traded. And I don't think he's recovered since.
Through looking at Kuzmenko's situation, thinking in your own life, what do you think happened to that confidence? Because he's a professional athlete, but when you describe the situation like that, it seems like it was fragile.
I think the mental aspect of professional sports, I don't think it's quite evolved yet. I think there's still a lot of people that don't really focus on that mental aspect. And if you're not trying to progress mentally and becoming more stronger emotionally and being able to battle adversity, well, then when you get in those slumps, extremely hard to get out of them. And I feel like a lot of players don't actually realize how much of an importance the mental aspect is when it comes to professional sports.
Now, is that something that you feel is a trainable skill?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I think you can practice that with sure, there's science behind it. I'm not 100% confident on it, but I'm sure there's science behind meditation, breath work, even just reading books in psychology and stuff, sports psychology. But there's reasons why these pro teams have sports psychologists. I'm just not sure if a lot of players actually utilize those resources. Now, I could be wrong, but that's just what I personally think, because you see those examples like Kuzmenko where you're just why does it seem like he's so fragile mentally?
In your own career, having played two sports, or I would say bodybuilding is a sport.
It's kind of a sport.
You compete.
Yeah.
Having competed in physical activity at a high level in 2 different domains. There we go.
That works. We'll take it.
Yeah. Tell me about a struggle that you've had or a slump that you've had that you can think of, how you managed to pull yourself out of it, and what you might do differently if you were to experience that again.
Well, Trinity, I started off 4th line and then worked my way up and to like 2nd, 3rd line. Then I was a pretty solid 3rd line, 2nd line fixture. Then I'd get some looks on the 1st line, but then every once in a while, you know, my coach, our coach, because we did play together, loved the old blender.
Oh gosh.
So that's when you'd come into practice day or 2 before a game and you'd look on the board and the lines would be everywhere. We call it the blender. Some guys be on 4th line that were on 1st line. And man, was it tough to get out of that mentally. If you were like playing on the 1st line on power play and then you came in the next day and your 4th line, you got no power play, 2nd line PK, you know, you're probably going to get 8 minutes that night. You're like, oh man. So I feel like a couple times in Trinity, I'd had that happen and it definitely was a struggle mentally. For me, what I would do to try and get out of it is just work harder. I just knew that if I was on 4th line, there was probably a reason for it. Sometimes I'd even go talk to my coach and I'd ask him, be like, hey, what's the deal? Like, why am I on 4th line? Like, I thought I was playing good. And he'd tell me, he'd be like, well, last game you didn't do this or you did this and it wasn't really the smart play or you weren't trying hard enough, something like that. Practice, who knows? I'd take that information and I'd go, okay, well, I'm just going to go that much harder. I'd go that much harder. I'd start working out. I'd work out off ice and away from like the team actual workouts. So I'd be going to the team workouts, but then I'd also come to work here after my classes and then I'd go work out upstairs in the gym on top of it, just trying to put in those extra hours, trying to get as much. I'd even go to drop-in. They'd have drop-in hockey here at 12 o'clock. So I'd have like an 8:30 class. I'd finish my class and I'd rip right over here and then I'd put on all my stuff, I'd go skate, take it off, go to class, and then I'd have practice later. So some people are different, but what I felt worked really well for me is just putting more work. Eventually, you know, like you can get lucky, but like I feel like if you're working hard, that luck comes by a little bit easier.
I love the way that you describe it because it makes so much sense. Because a lot of players, when they hear like they're not getting the ice time, their default is, I need to work harder. Like they keep that confined to the ice time that they have, the gym sessions that they have. They don't think I need to work harder is also I need to work more.
Yeah, I always think about that. I think that's a quote that Michael Jordan always talked about, how he'd like, oh, was it Michael Jordan? Yeah, where he'd talk to his teammates and he'd be like, yeah, the other team said this. And like said this about your mom or something. And then just to rile himself up.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like when I was in like a slump like that, I'd always be like, well, I'm going to show coach. Like, how dare he put me on this 4th line? I'm going to work so much harder that it's like, you can't have me down here. You can't be scratching me because this guy is killing himself so much more than all these other guys that he deserves to have a spot. He deserves to be up the lineup.
Yeah, undeniable. There's a lot of social media. There's a lot of, you know, quick attention. There's a lot of fads. There's a lot of trends. A lot of things trying to grab you in. So our algorithms are different. We're going to be seeing different things. That's normal. But if you could take like one area or one thing that you see on social media and just like completely delete it and remove it from the world because you think it leads people astray, what do you think that would be?
It's funny because it's like I agree and I disagree on this one. I feel like politics in a way, you have the extreme on both sides, the left and the right. And I feel like a lot of those extremes are the ones that are posting the stuff on social media.
Right.
So I feel like, but then again, there are some people that actually have, you know, good informative knowledge that are unbiased and that you can actually learn and grow while watching and learn more about like, you know, the different sides in politics and the government itself. But you get so many different extremists that are just like posting just this crazy stuff that I just feel like once you start going down that rabbit hole, you're scrolling through videos at 2:30 in the morning, you have no idea what's going on. You're like, what is this? So that could be one.
I have a few for sure. And like the one that I want to get rid of the most is actually the one I want to keep the most because it's at a point where I just think it's complete comedy. The whole fascia revolution.
Oh yeah.
Training your fascia, hydrating your fascia.
Yeah. I've
all
seen
of
those.
These, like, call it functional gurus.
Yeah.
There was a point in time when like I was newer. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then like, but the more you read into it, it's like very much just out for my attention, in my opinion.
Or those YouTube videos of those guys that build the huts out in like Africa or something that you'll watch at like 3 o'clock in the morning. You probably have never seen those, but you start scrolling them, they like fast forward it, and these guys are just building huts, and it's like a late at night kind of thing when you're just like ready for bed. You just start going down this rabbit hole, and suddenly you're 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're watching this guy build a hut. And I'm like, why am I not sleeping right now? Like, sleep is crucial. And I'm watching this guy on YouTube build a hut for 20 minutes.
Yeah, my rabbit hole was always engineering videos.
Really?
Yeah. So
oh,
it's
wow.
like, I don't know, like, why do elevators have certain dings?
Yeah.
Last question. I love ending with this question.
Yeah.
I want to add, like, I guess, are you familiar with Lewis Howes and the School of Greatness and his podcast?
Ooh, yeah, kind of. A little bit. Yes.
You are?
Kind of.
Okay, well, hopefully you don't have an answer for this one.
Oh,
but he ends all of his podcasts with the same question framework.
Okay.
Love it so much that I stole it.
All right.
I like to give him credit because it's his idea. And it's called the 3 truths. So imagine that you're at the end of your life, at the end of your days, you've done everything in this life that you want to, achieved everything, like lived a full life, and you're ready for it to end. But it does come to an end. Everything that you've built, everything that you've learned goes with you. Like, the world completely forgets your existence, with the exception of 3 truths that you're able to leave behind. 3 lessons or things that you know to be true in your heart with absolute certainty that you want to leave as your mark on the world. What would those 3 be?
I like going back to that one where it's like, earn your own luck. Yeah, you're going to get lucky in this world, but if you work hard, that luck's going to come a lot easier. So I'd do that one.
Mine is similar to yours. I think that effort matters more than your situation in all cases.
Yeah.
Because if you can control like your trajectory, how fast you're going somewhere, it matters a lot more than like where you started.
I think my second one would be, you can always make the best out of any situation. Life ain't always sunshine and rainbows. Shit's always going to happen. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. But it's in those downs that you have to try and look at it with a different perspective, and you can try and make that situation better. The fact that I got cut from junior, I was choked. I'm like, can't believe I didn't even get to play junior B hockey. Like, this sucks. Never going to play high level hockey. My career's done. Like, that's it. Well, if I ended up making junior hockey, I probably would have just played out my career, and not a lot of guys from the junior team I was trying out for went on to play university hockey afterwards. Right? Most people that played university hockey played at least a full career of junior B, years of it, or junior A or higher. Right? So if I ended up making that junior B team, I probably wouldn't have played Trinity.
Interesting.
Probably wouldn't have played 6 years Trinity. I probably wouldn't be sitting here right here today. So it's like, in that situation, it's like, try and make the best of it, right? Try and work harder somewhere else. Oh, okay, this didn't go my way. Okay, well, I'm going to make sure I do better at this. I'm going to try even harder at this, so that I can look back and go, okay, there's a reason why I failed there, or that went wrong, because this happened, and then this was good.
All right, if we're going back and forth, my second would be, like, you can't lose if you don't quit.
Ah, that's a good one too.
Where it's like,
dripping faucet.
Yeah. It's like the game is only over when you decide to shut it off.
Yeah. Don't curl in the squat rack.
Put it on your tombstone. Hey?
Don't curl in the squat rack.
Dude, I feel like that's actually got a deep metaphorical meaning, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you it, but it does.
Right.
It's a real deep meaning.
Yeah.
I'm going to save that one for myself, though.
There we go.
All right, what's your last one?
Relationships over everything.
Ah, that's a good one. Good one. Sucking up to the wife. I like it.
Exactly.
Smart man. She's watching right now.
So it's like, she needs to know. I mean that in the sense of, like, I know of people who have a ton of money, who are divorced multiple times, who have no one in their will, who their kids don't talk to them. And then it's like, what's it worth?
Yep.
Right? Like, what's the point of having the world, if you lose your soul, or if you have no one to spend it with? So
makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good.
Cool, man. All right. Kade Vilio, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being here, dude.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Beautiful space.
So, appreciate it.
Dude.
Awesome.
Bring it in.
That was good.
Yeah.
That's solid, eh?